Thank you all for being here with us tonight. A big warm welcome to our new walk ambassadors. I think I saw at least 2 or 3 on the call already tonight. And so really excited to see you. In total, we have onboarded 6 new walk ambassadors that'll be joining us this year. So they'll be joining the team. And kind of to also go back to say, thank you again to all of you. I know the transition from the coordinator title to ambassador title and all the different paperwork and forms we had to fill out. You all were champs, stuck with it, got through the whole process. There are 30 returning veteran volunteers, so that are completely through the process. So that thank you all for that. And a big hearty welcome to our new ones. Thank you for joining us tonight. Daniel, you can go on to the next one. And first and foremost, I want to celebrate. There's 30 of you that have stuck with us over the past couple of years, transitioned to going to a virtual walk,
Hey, what are you doing?
pivoted to do all the things that we ask you to, and just stuck with us as we went along. I know we all learned on the fly the first year, and but we have a lot of really great stats to celebrate. Some of the things I want to call out that I think are really impressive is the fact that we had 85 and 86% of our teams that were fundraising in the past 2 years. That's an incredible number. And I credit you guys for creating those relationships on the ground, giving them great events to come to, celebrating their successes along the way, and just keeping your local walks relevant and just giving them a great thing to come back to year over year. Our veteran walkers really did carry us through the past 2 years. They showed up with their fundraising, and I know that includes many of you on the call too that are veteran fundraisers for us. So thank you so much for all that you've done to keep our Walk for PKD program alive and kicking and running into 2022. A few stats that I wanted to draw your attention to are from our platform. So the platform that we fundraise on is Classy, and they compared us to everybody else that uses that platform. And compared to everyone else, our average transaction amount, so that means the amount of the donation, if you put all of our donations together, is $126. So we outpace the majority of the people out there. And we are using our fundraising pages more than anyone else, more than everyone else too, at 45%. I think that's a great thing. It shows that our people are really engaged, but I also think that it points out that we can use this as a coaching tool, because the more people that we get using those pages, the more fundraising we'll have and the more awareness we'll have for PKD. So that is a little something I wanted to celebrate with you guys. I don't want to spend tons of time on stats, but I do think that it's kind of fun to see it and just see the data and see where we fall up against other organizations and year over year against ourselves. So in 2022, our goal is going to be to go from 300 teams to 600 teams. And I know that seems like, holy cow, Sue, what are you thinking? But in the past, when we have been in in-person events, we have been around 800 to 900 teams. So I do know that people are more inclined to come out and join us. I'm getting a little bit of feedback. Thank you. When we're in person, they like the human interaction and they like to have an event to come to. So I really feel like the 600 team goal is another thing. Besides recruiting our teams and getting them back from the past, which I think should be the easy thing to do because we could see that our tried and true walkers stuck with us. We're also going to be looking at increasing that number, bringing back some people that haven't been with us for a few years. And also every year we do have about 40% new walkers. So just welcoming them and making them feel welcome and encourage them to fundraise. some of the things that we will be doing to recruit these walkers will be to reach out to our past team captains. You can get a list from your staff lead, so Danielle or myself, and we can give you lists from the past 4 years of people that have been out to your walk and fundraise. And even though that we, as the PKD Foundation, do outreach via email and social media, that local personal touch from you really means a lot and is usually the reason that people show up and continue to show up. With all of our new volunteer roles and volunteer promotion, we are also getting a lot of new volunteers forms being filled out. And really almost daily, we will get a new volunteer that is saying that they want to be involved at the PKD Foundation. And it can be in any of the roles, or it could be that they want to help out at a walk or just learn more about the things that are going on in their local community. So there is another resource. As soon as we see those people come in, we will be introducing them to you too. So that'll be another way that we can recruit some new team captains. And then your community connections, when you're out talking to your sponsors or maybe your nephrology clinics, other connections that you're making out in the community, someone that's giving you an in-kind donation, you can invite them to come out and bring a team and join you on walk day. And then also to help us with our goal in 2022, we will be doing a lot of stewardship with our active fundraising teams. So as soon as somebody signs up, and I know many of the veterans on here are used to doing this and very adept at it, but reaching out to them and thanking them for registering, watching their fundraising page and congratulating them when they are making progress towards their goal, reminding them to increase their goal if they already met it. So those are a lot of things we'll be talking about in the future. But does anybody, I'll stop here. Does anybody have any questions? If you want to unmute and ask me, you can, or you can, actually, you can always be putting things in the chat too. No? I did want to take a step back and just talk about going from virtual walks to in-person walks. As we were, looking at going back to in-person, as we were wrapping up 2021 and looking at 2022, we did have to take a really close look at all of our walk events and, make decisions that were responsible for bringing the programs back in person. And so as we move into 2022, we will be hosting 40 in-person events. We will have 4 Walk for PKD events that will be, the 2 are Iowa and Nebraska will now have 1 walk, and they'll all be joining the Nebraska Walk for PKD. And Delaware and Philadelphia will have the opportunity to go to the Philadelphia Walk for PKD. We have 3 events that we will have local landing pages for, but they will be virtual walks so they can continue to fundraise as, a local community, but they will not be having an in-person walk. And those are San Francisco, New York City, and Central Florida, which is in Orlando. And then there will be 6 events that will not have landing pages. And if they would like to fundraise with us, they can either join a walk near them or they can join the virtual walk. And the reason that we have done these 6 walks will not have a page and will not, their choice will be to join another walk or fundraise with the virtual walk is because they really just did not have the volunteer support, the attendance, or the fundraising. And all of these also had walks within a 2-hour radius of them. And so that's kind of where we went from pre-pandemic to post-pandemic and how we're going to start off this walk season into 2022. And for a little plug for the places that we are still recruiting this year, I know that all of you on the call are already walk ambassadors. You have your role in your local community, but just in case one of you might know somebody who lives in one of these communities, a friend, a family member, somebody that have a passion for volunteering and you would like to recommend them, just feel free to shoot us an email and introduce us. Mark had a question about the 6 walks that will not have an event. That is Orange County, New Orleans, Central Illinois,
Rhode Island,
Northern Indiana,
Austin.
and Austin. Thanks, Danielle. I did not have those written down, so
Teamwork.
yeah. And then considerations in 2022, as we've been booking parks and all across the country, different people have different requirements, insurance requirements, and different things that have changed over the past couple of years. So we've been documenting that and taking care of those requests. But they also, many of them have COVID requirements. And that being said, we've had to develop just a basic set of protocols that we will be instituting at all of our Walk for PKD events. Those protocols are around food and beverage, which a lot of this is just general food safety overall, but we will be asking that food and beverage be individually packaged or produced by a restaurant or an establishment that has a food service license. I have also had a walk ask if people could bring their own picnic, and that would be perfectly fine if people prepare their own food in their own home and eat their own food at the walk. So that's kind of how we're going to look at food and beverage for 2022. Hand sanitizing stations, we'll look at the size of your walk and just think about how many you will need. And then disinfecting wipes for surfaces, and just kind of making sure that we do that a couple times during the event. And those are they're the basics, but they pretty much meet everybody's requirements as to having some established guidelines that we will be able to do at every walk. And then some considerations that we will be talking about are the ability to social distance. Obviously you're outside, so that there's a lot of freedom to be able to do that. And then the ability to wear a mask. Those are the things that we want people to feel comfortable doing. They won't be requirements. Well, I can't predict the future, but as the way the world looks right now, they probably won't be requirements in outdoor spaces. But we also have an immune compromised population that we want them to feel welcome and to feel like they can make the choices that make them feel most comfortable. So as always with our events, we want to be very inclusive, and however is easiest for you to participate, for our participants to be there and feel comfortable and included is what we want to encourage. So, and then there is always the virtual option. We did learn a lot in the past 2 years about how we can use our tools and resources and social media and connections to make people feel welcome and included and invited, even when they can't participate in person with us. So if they want to sign up for your walk and fundraise, but just engage with you like over social media or in a virtual manner, that's totally fine too. And then in places where we don't have a walk, they can join our virtual walk and walk wherever they feel most comfortable. I think I have a couple questions, Danielle. Let me go and snag.
I was trying to answer a few.
Oh, okay, you got them.
Yep.
Cool. All righty. Walk for PKD pages are ready. All of you have received an email that to confirm your details, so your event details. I know I've heard from a lot of you. We've heard from the majority of you. If you haven't gone and looked at your page, there's a link in there waiting for you to check it out. We reviewed them too, but it's always nice to have your eyes on them because you guys know these details better than anybody, and it's always really good to get your eyes on them too. Danielle's going to pop into one of these pages for us. We'll just take a little look through them.
Sorry, Sue, I had it open and then I realized I have to share a different screen here.
I was gonna say, we try to just make things tricky for you when we have to take you away from your usual setup.
All right, one moment. There we go. Can you see it now?
Yes, we can.
All right,
Can we scroll
back up to the top.
Perfect. It'll look very familiar. For anybody on here, this page at the top, or the picture at the top of the page, is an image that we put in there. The image is the same for every page. We chose an image that represented what we thought this year would be back in person, a lot of people gathering and walking, and that could probably be any walk anywhere. I realize it is not your walk. Well, it is one person's walk, but it's to be representative of just every walk out there that people can participate in. And it looks like the majority of them with people with strollers and pets and just, you know, congregating and walking together. So you have your basic event details at the top, a little blurb about the walk. One section I did want to call out, this one right here about, did you walk with us before? When you're reaching out to your walkers at the beginning, this is a really good reminder. You can copy and paste this text if you want to out of here, is that their password and username that they used for previous walks should be used again. When they create entirely new accounts, and it does kind of give them some gridlock and getting back in and being able to work in their fundraising page. So I just wanted to call that out, that if you have a question about that, or if you want to just get ahead of it, that's great text for you to use. Next section is where your goal will be and your progress towards your goal. And then down here, your event details. So this is what everybody can check out to make sure we have everything correct. And Danielle, you can scroll down a little bit more. Then there's a link to the FAQs, our walk ambassador's name, their walk email address, the location of your park, and the map. You can make sure, since you guys know your city better than we do, you know, make sure that the map is pointing to the right place. And sometimes we can put in the right address and it is not on the right place in the map. So another set of eyes on that is always great too. And then down here is where your sponsors will be. And then remember that at the bottom of the page, this is where it will calculate who your top fundraisers are, your donors, teams, and it'll show your activity. So you can see everything that's happening. And also in that activity feed, if you are logged in, you can comment on all of those. You can say, thank you so much, or way to go, team, and make comments as fundraising and people sign up. All right, thanks, Daniel.
Switch my screen here.
Now if you can find the other one.
All right, back to the PowerPoint.
Back to the PowerPoint.
All righty.
And then I just wanted to also remind you, walkforpkd.org, our landing page, is a hub of so much information and so many resources. There are tabs at the top. Under the fundraising tab, you'll find the one sheets, the social media assets. There's a bunch of downloadable assets that you can use on social media. There's your team captain handbook that you can share with your team captains. And then there's an FAQ section. And like I said, there are so many FAQs there and so many answers to what people might ask you or things that you might want to know a little bit more about. So that is a great thing to familiarize yourself with ahead of kickoff next week. And I know as we have been talking to you volunteers this spring and you've all been transitioning in your roles to the new titles, We've been talking about the new volunteer resource pages, and the walk one is at pkdcure.org/volunteer/walk. And there are all sorts of things there. I pulled up a couple to talk about. There's a handbook if you want to get really, really into all the details. It might be one of those things you want to take a little bit at a time. So when you actually need the information, you go in and look at it. Or maybe you're one of those people that likes to take the whole thing in at once. I am not that person, but everybody can decide how they want to do that. And then for the people that really like at a glance, we have a calendar that's available for download. Danielle, you want to move? Yeah, thank you. This is also on that resource page. For those of you that like a checklist, this is for you. It pulls out things that go month by month, and you can say, okay, here's really the things I need to concentrate on. And if you want to know what to prioritize, these are the things that we really feel like you could prioritize. We left a place for you to add another to-do if there's something else you have on your to-do list. And if you're not the kind of person who wants to see all of this, we also bubble up each month on that resource page, the checklist for the month. So each month that will be updated. So if you just want to go to the resource page and say, what do I need to be working on this month? What are the top things I need to be working on? And then go from there. So that's a little tool that you can find. And Danielle, you can go on to the next one. I think Patty said something in the chat, or did she?
Yes.
Oh, Walk for PKD page is a great resource. Yes. There is a really good thing about where your money is going. And I think that's what she was calling out. It is fantastic. So there is a lot. And I do say to look through all the tabs, because when you start talking to people or when you want to point them someplace to get more information, there is a lot of information there, and it does help. Thanks, Patty, for bringing that up. And what a great segue, because I was going to talk about sponsors next. I know that really I've talked to all of you, either between yourself and Ireland. All of your returning sponsor asks have been made, and that's kudos. Great that we have all those out there. We've actually, been really seeing sponsorships. They're not like pouring in, but they're coming in at a steady pace. So your efforts are paying off. I think now would be a great time to reach back out to some of these, because we do have our print deadline coming up on June 1st. And then the other thing that's really going to matter is August 1st deadline for the banner. And but all these materials too, I'm gonna sound like a broken record, can be found at walkforpkd.org for download. I know that you all have them, but if you are just like, oh, where is that? I forget where I saved it on my computer. You can always go there and grab it there. I am not going to spend a lot of time on walk emails and multi-factor authentication tonight. We are going to be rolling this out next week. I know it was on the call last week, and Desiree joined us and gave us a little bit more detail. There will be detailed instructions coming out in advance of this rolling out. And so just another plug to say, yes, it is coming. For some of the people that we have just onboarded, we have not gotten you in your email yet, because we wanted to get this all done, one and done for you. So if you're thinking, I don't know if I've been in my email, you haven't, but we are going to get you in there soon. And now is the perfect time to be doing this, because once the walks launch, you'll be getting more people reaching out to you via your email, and it'll be something you're going to need to keep an eye on, and also a great way to connect with your participants. All righty. Are there any questions, Danielle, that haven't been answered, or anything that you think would be good to address?
I think I got most of them answered, but if you have anything else. feel free to reach out. I'll try to answer it in the chat or bring it up to Sue.
Perfect. Thank you. Back in person, event day logistics. We will be doing training for this that will be getting in the weeds. Like, you know, every year we go through like all the things you can do for your logistical planning, and that's something we'll do in June for you guys. But one of the things we wanted to say is that we have looked at our event day materials, and we are going to be working towards a paperless experience at registration. So we've all had a lot more experience using QR codes over the past couple of years, and really everybody seems very adept at doing it and is very used to doing it. And we are going to do our on-site registration and on-site donations via QR code. And like I said, we will go into the nitty-gritty and the specifics about all this on our next training. But I just wanted to give you a heads up that that's where we're going. Also, event day materials will be much easier in the whole execution of ordering, planning, etc., because we have already decided just what everybody gets. And so we're taking that burden off of you too. We will send you what you need and you'll be all set up for success. We already discussed food and beverage, so we will go into more detail on the next call at that too. And then t-shirts. We are going to continue to do t-shirts as we have the last couple of years, where every individual that raises $100 will receive a code via email like they have, and they can redeem their t-shirt that way. We were kind of amazed at the amount of staff time that it has reduced in dealing with it, but also in looking at it, realizing how much volunteer time that is also saving in the last minute preparation and just execution of the walk, a lot of discussion that has to go on at the registration tables to distribute that. Some people, you know, have their hands full of stuff and it's hard. So we're really thinking that this is going to save a lot of people a lot of time. Well, it's going to save all of us, volunteers and staff, a lot of time. But I think it will be nice when people will just get their t-shirt right at their door and they have it to, you know, have it there. So, and then the last thing I wanted to talk about were expenses. And Danielle found this fun little thing because I said it's never fun to talk about money. But as we go into this year, I think the biggest thing I can say about expenses is discuss expenses with your staff lead before you go and sign up for them. To be reimbursed, it does need to be approved. Some of the expected expenses that will be very easily approved will be things like tables and chairs, amplified sound, porta potties, police officers, parking, and things to fulfill your COVID protocols. So, you know, even some venues require these things. So you have, I mean, not all of you need all these things, but some places require them. So obviously we will be either paying for them or, you know, through the PKD Foundation, which many times is the best way to go about it, or reimbursing for them. And then additional expenses, those will be reimbursed also, but they need to be discussed with your staff lead in advance. I think I saw a question in the chat about expenses.
Yeah, David had a question.
Yeah, if you do purchase something and you don't want to be reimbursed, that will be considered a gift in kind, and we can submit that as a gift in kind donation. Absolutely. Great question, David. All righty.
Where's that donation form located?
You know what, David, we do have different donation forms this year. This year we have a link that will be specific that we'll just send you, and you can just use that link and go in there and do it.
Okay,
And
thank you.
Daniel will shoot that over to you. Great questions. Okay, we're ready for the next one, Daniel. Next steps. Our official walk launch is next Tuesday, May 24th. And what does that actually mean? It means that that is when the PKD Foundation is going to start publicly promoting your event. And we have a detailed communication plan that starts on May 24th and runs through your event. And as every year, as your event gets closer, that communication and promotion plan will ramp up, and you will be hearing about the walk more frequently as it gets closer. So that will include things like email communications, being in PKD News, being on the front of the PKD homepage as a thing in the top tiles, blog posts, advertising, social media ads, social media posts. Really, it's just the whole gamut of anywhere that you see information coming out from the PKD Foundation, you will see something about registering for the walk and participating this fall. So that I just think this is when the fun starts. For me, I think the planning is great, but the fun starts once we launch the walk and everybody can start to see that people start to register and fundraising start. Something you can be doing if you haven't checked your page yet to make sure it is accurate for times and location, do that. And then register for your local walk. Go through the registration process, familiarize yourself with it, check the resources, the FAQs. If you have any thoughts that you want to share with us, send them our way. We're always looking for feedback on all of that. There's some things we can change and some things we can't. We've kicked the tires on a lot of it, but we're always looking for ways that we can improve. And then after we launch next week, one of the things you can also do over the next few weeks is make a personal outreach to your past team captains and post on your local social media account. So if you are the person that posts on that and you have access, great. You can just start to make a plan on what you're going to do. And if you are not, and somebody else posts for your local community, now would be a good time to reach out to them and start making a plan for what you guys want to do for walk season 2022.